Hello everyone. So I welcome you all to module 15, that is on SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, under the course of UN SDGs. Yeah, so let's see some facts. There are 789 million people around the world who lack to access to electricity. So 789 million, close to, well, you can call it 8 million, perhaps, world over out of 8 billion, right? So 10% of human population roughly doesn't have access to electricity. You see the picture? Well, our society today is so much dependent on electricity. For a moment, you can take a pause and look around, yourself, in your room, the gadgets, you own, the literary materials you read, the clothes you wear, the, other household utensils, appliances and things you have, the building you are living in. They all are consumers of electricity. They have been in their manufacturing period, and most of them are using electricity even while in the uses, in their operations phase also, right? For buildings also, if you see, they are electrified. There is like a electrical connection for lighting, fan, air conditioning, other stuff, and all of these things, man-made things what we are seeing today, okay, they have consumed electricity in at least like all of their stages, unless it is something which is totally man-made, sourced from nature, without any like a machinable tool or motorized tool or something like that. Okay, so that's very hard to imagine like anything we have of that sort, except maybe like some maybe wooden material, or maybe something of made up of craft, or maybe hand woven, maybe some garment, some fabric, piece of fabric or something like that. Except those kind of things, like now most of the items that we are surrounded with, they have consumed electricity, or they are consuming electricity during their running, during their operations phase. So that is the extent of electricity, through which like electricity has entered in our lives. Just imagine like how the life was before like the period of like electricity, right? So people used to burn like their own lamps, diyas, and like stuff, right, for lighting, right? Oil based, or maybe mineral oil based, or maybe natural oil based, vegetable oil based, like solutions. For cooking also, there used to be dependent on firewood and like variety of like other stuff, right? And for manufacturing also, there was no particular like manufacturing, but yeah, man-made, like handmade kind of like stuff, like pieces of furniture, right, or and like things, right? But now we have so much dependent. Now it is almost impossible to go back to live in a life which has like no electricity or form of like a electrified like a energy systems, right? So that is the dependence like we are talking about. And even in this like age, there are still like a 10% of like a people who doesn't have electricity connection to their homes, right? That means this percentage of like a people, they are still managing somehow. If you see this picture again, right, look closely, what do you see in this house? There is no proper flooring, and the wall is it looks like it's not a proper wall. It just looks like partition of maybe some bamboo stirrups or something like that. There I see one column over here, maybe of like some wooden log, or some sacks, something is kept, that's not visible what it is. Some other person is sitting over here. There is a chicken, hen, and there is this firewood, and the lady is preparing some meal, some dish, right? And it looks like aluminum vessel, and one plastic bottle I see with the plastic cap, or is it a glass bottle with the metal cap, blue color cap? I don't know, it's not clear. It looks like a glass, like a bottle. Okay, some more wooden like sticks and things lying on the ground, and there is nothing else. Maybe a piece of calendar here on this partition, right? And that's it. Well, she's wearing very normal like a regular, it looks like cotton kind of like a cloths. Okay, so if you compare to your own like a setting, your own like a home, how different like this is. Okay, in terms of like resources what she has, her house is made up of, what she is preparing and how she is preparing, right? And like other, like stuff. There is no furniture visible in this picture. Probably, maybe, I don't know about, like this chamber inside. There may be something, but yeah, at least in this court, there is nothing, no finishing, right? It's a very rough, like a coarse flooring and finishing, like other things, right? So this is, like that picture, which comes, like a via, like these documents and these reports, documented by United Nations, right, and its agencies, right? So this is the, like a picture, and this is the, like a family's households, we are talking about, right? So overall goal is to help, like this, like a group of people, and to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for everyone. Okay, because, well, if not whole of the India, but many parts of India now, have surplus, like electricity supply, and there are no typical like general power cuts. And majority of the advanced countries, like 24-hour uninterrupted, like a power supply is there, that is guaranteed, like a supply is there, no interruption. Okay, and yeah, that has enabled, like every sector, that has helped, every sector, whether it is education, health, infrastructure, water supply, right, or energy, manufacturing, industries, construction, any of these, if you see, they are all dependent on, electricity. Well, why is it needed, like this kind of, supply to this set of people? Is a well established energy system supports all sectors, from businesses to medicine to education to agriculture, infrastructure, communication and high technology. Well, during pandemic also we saw one very typical kind of, like a situation when the vaccines from developed countries or developing countries went to these like a kind of or maybe underdeveloped countries. There was one big challenge, like some of the vaccines, they were supposed to be, like refrigerated, below, like like a zero, like a temperatures in, minus several notches, like a below zero, right? And that makes it kind of, like a practically, like a very difficult thing to do, because there is no electricity, like a supply, where like they can keep it, under freezing conditions in the hospitals, right, or other, like healthcare facilities, or even transportation also. For example, refrigerated vans and all of those kind of, things are not there. Then how to deliver, like such medicines, life saving, like vaccines, to such places? That's another, like a logistical, like a nightmare. Even if you have, like the supply is coming from elsewhere, okay, you cannot actually, distribute to, like a such, like a challenging, like regions. So this is the, kind of a catastrophic, like result, because of, like a lack of electricity, right? So well, these are major, like sectors like business, medicine, education, agriculture, infrastructure, etc. But there are many other, like middle, like a range sectors or everyday, like necessities. I just mentioned one where you need, like a such things, like a supply of electricity, like electricity governed, like a gadgets and stuff. Access to electricity in poorer countries has begun to accelerate. Energy efficiency continues to improve, and renewable energy is making impressive gains. Nevertheless, more focused attention is needed to improve access to clean and safe cooking fuels and technologies for 2.8 billion people. Okay, so this set of people, they require, like these, in abundance, so that they can improve, like their everyday life. Why should I care about this goal? Of course, for many decades, fossil fuels such as coal, oil, gases have been major sources of electricity production. But burning carbon fuels produces large amounts of greenhouse gases, which cause climate change and have harmful impacts on people's well-being and the environment. This affects everyone, not just a few. Moreover, global electricity use is rising rapidly. In a nutshell, without a stable electricity supply, countries will not be able to power their economies. So definitely, if you want to drive your economy, your country's economy, the path, goes, via electricity, uninterrupted, guaranteed, supply of electricity. Otherwise, it's going to be in the shambles. Okay, you cannot guarantee, like a successful, like a stories, industries, in case you do not have, like a guarantee of, like a power supply, right? So yeah, how many people are living without electricity? Nearly 8 out of 10 people now have access to electricity, but reaching the unserved 789 million around the world. 548 million people in sub-Saharan Africa alone that like access will require increased like effort for like themselves, right? So there are various groups of people from around the world who are in a challenging like situation and in a dire need of electricity.